Best game to play with friends.
The best game to get on sale.
Surprise hit of the year. Game of the year. CFM.
That's right, everybody. It is time again. That time of the year where we talk about the best games that we played last year.
Yes, while it is 2026, 2025 is not over for us here at CFM Radio because we had a chance to digest the finest art that you can play. How you doing tonight, Vector?
Doing all right, Drix. Doing all right. And last year, it was incredibly a crowded year, and I don't know if I could agree with that statement wholeheartedly. I missed a few games that were pretty up there. I missed Donkey Kong Bonanza. I missed... I didn't personally play Death Stranding 2. I did not play Ghost of Yote, so I missed a few key games. But I will say, the games that I did play were still ranking among the top that came out last year. And the ones that I have picked for our categories, you may have heard some of the categories as I was pulling them down during the intro, but some of these categories this year were pretty difficult because there were so many games that came out. But you know what, Drix? I think at the end of the day, the cream of the crop rose to the top, and I think we have some solid judgments on what we can give our viewers who, if we had trouble playing games last year, because you and I are normally pretty good about this. We're normally playing the best games, the most relevant games of the year, normally within the realm of the release. But last year, my God, Drix, there were so many.
Yep, and there were some unfortunates that kind of fell to the wayside just based on timing that may have or could have been really great games. That just got overshadowed by the competition and the scheduling of their releases.
Yep. So we are here to bring you the best games, or the best and sometimes maybe the not so greatest of everything that we played last year. Because if we had trouble, we know you guys probably looked at everything you had and was like, wow, what do I even buy?
Yeah, absolutely. The best kinds of problems to have that we like to talk about here on CFM Radio.
Absolutely. And while we may not have many, there may not be any news stories tonight, there may not be any new game releases, this is a night where we are going to honor what we played last year. So you know what, Drix? I do believe that without further ado, we should jump in. Because, Drix, there were a lot of games that we were playing this year, but I think one of the most important things that happened was we got to play a lot or experience a lot of games that we could play together.
Surprise hit.
While some people may enjoy, the single player romps against your computer, there was actually a good amount of really social games that came out this year and many years. But
best game.
There's always that constant battle for whose live service game will take the most Fortnite players or Roblox players, or get those gamers off of their daily drivers and into a different experience.
And with that, I think we will jump right in to
best game to play with friends.
And that is the best game to play with friends. Drix, I think I'll have you start things off. What was your best game of 2025 to play with friends?
All right. Well, if you have tuned in to CFM Radio over the past year or so, or however long we've been doing this, you may have heard us talk about Wildgate. Yeah. So Wildgate, I've said this a few times, but it's a there's 5 ships, crews of 4, and there's been a lot of updates and more content added and things like that.
Big changes.
Yeah, big changes. You got solos, you got duos, and the 4-player teams, and it's the only experience that I've come across where you can successfully navigate naval space battles. Okay.
Yes, space.
So it's got this popular like extraction element where you're looting different points of interest and stuff that has been showing up in the gaming consciousness, and for me it was just the best culmination of extracting and then having all the effort pay off in climactic space battles, or getting away with the artifact, which is the objective, as you're looting and exploring space. So yeah, you have a job and you get good at it. If you can't park the ship within 50 meters of the entrance, you probably shouldn't be piloting the ship. Maybe you should stick to scanning and probing or shooting a gun or something when the combat shows up. But yeah, PvE is the name of the game, and this game is actually at its best when your team knows how to play. It has from what we've seen now, like a bit more of a learning curve than Arc Raiders, or it slides steeply in some direction that unfortunately this game hasn't really like grasped on to sort of mainstream audiences. I would say it's got like a diehard niche, but may have seen some dip in popularity over the last year. But for me, Wildgate was the best game to play with my friends in 2025.
And I won't lie, playing Wildgate with you, playing Wildgate with other friends that I had convinced to pick this game up, this was a fantastic experience. Wildgate is a very, very rare game, and you're not going to play a lot of games that really reward you and your friends for learning the systems and really locking a game plan down and learning exactly what the game wants you to do. There's a lot of stuff going on in Wildgate, and there is quite a learning curve. I actually compared this one to High Guard recently, where High Guard is at its best when you're playing with friends, and it's best when you're playing with people who all really understand the game and the objective. Wildgate is the same way. These naval battles are incredible. They are epic. The looting and ship upgrade aspect is awesome. And there's, this game had quite I would say this game had a strong start, but it is one of those games that takes a little bit of time to figure out what you're doing and figure out what the best stuff is versus what the not so great stuff is, and even how you could use all of the tools that are available to you. There's a lot of ways to play Wildgate and to use all of the tractor beams, the jet boosters, the
laser different ram over everything,
laser ram, all of these different kinds of tools. They're all it's a very robust game. They alter your experience in profound ways, and they can really push the boundaries of what's possible in this game. Like Drake said, and so unfortunately seen a bit of a dip in player base, but if you haven't played this one, I would say pick it up, check it out, try it for yourself. Make sure you and your buddies get in on this. Grab 2-3 friends. One, you could get a single friend and do duos. This game is worth the $30 that you'll pay for it. So I would agree that Wildgate is one of the best games of 2025 to play with your friends.
Yeah, let your gamer pals know when it goes on sale and have yourself a spacefaring good time.
Absolutely. And you know, Drix, the thing is, I loved Wildgate, and Wildgate is incredible. I think that this game, unfortunately, like you were saying, they suffered a bit of a dip in population and popularity. It hasn't quite hit its stride, but I will say, my pick for the best game to play with friends is one that I think is at this point carried by its accessibility. And that game is Battlefield 6. Now, it might be a bit cliche, or it might be a bit of a cheap cash-in to say, well, you know, the most popular military shooter of the year is probably the best game to play with your friends, right? But I gotta say, Drix, Battlefield 6 has a lot going for it.
Yeah, definitely does. I mean, we're talking big names in shooter games here. So, yeah, this is a bit of a return to form for the franchise too, actually, you know. So we went on a long tangent of different historical period pieces and you know, takes on the past and the future. So yeah, this modern day game is really like it represents the times, you know.
Yeah. And like it's one of those things where it's a return to form, but it's kind of deceptive. Love it or hate it, you have those kind of arcadey slide movements. You know, you got your slide, jump, sprint stuff going on. You don't have like a stamina meter or anything like that, but that does not detract from the incredible gunplay, the amazing sound design, the frankly great map design. And even again, one of those things that Battlefield 6 gets criticized on a lot, map sizes. These maps are very, very fun and you get lost in them very, very easily, and things move pretty damn quick. One of the best parts about Battlefield 6, and one of the easiest, or why I say its accessibility kind of carries it at the end of the day, is because, Drix, Battlefield 6 is free to play.
Yeah, for the most part, and like I have enjoyed a good amount of RedSec at by this time, and haven't picked up the full game yet. Haven't dove in since like the actual beta that we were playing together. But yeah, I'm excited for that progress to carry over and talk about accessibility, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's funny because a lot of people, I have not quite taken the plunge yet either to buy Battlefield 6, and I'm not going to say that buying Battlefield 6 doesn't get you a great game, but when you're playing RedSec, you're kind of getting the full-fledged experience too, and and it gives you all of the hardware experience and the career experience for the characters. You get all of that, and it's the same type of experience as in the main game. It all carries over. So you could really go for RedSec. You could play it for a while and just wait for that sweet, sweet sale. I will say, Drix, this was one of those games. This game nearly won out for the best game to get on sale.
Yeah, it was one of those close calls there. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like this is one of those games where you could just be playing it already, right? You could just be playing RedSec, and
yeah,
if you once it goes on sale, if you love it, why not just buy it, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're getting with RedSec, you're getting like the squad-based kind of battle royale experience, but I definitely have that deep craving for like the big like 64 player maps and such, and
hey,
push point, you know, all the domination that goes down.
And hey, you know, there are they are rather liberal with their free to play weekends. You can end up playing a weekend of Breakthrough as a free to player.
Yeah.
You know, just with the RedSec people. That's happened about twice. The game's been out for about 3 months. So two weekends out of the nearly the entire time this game's been out, you've been able to play the paid modes. So they are not very stingy with it. The RedSec modes they're not like throwaway modes. It's not just a battle royale. You have Gauntlet, which is my favorite mode, and it is a more like of a objective based multiplayer experience where you use like every round is different. You could be in a tank one round and then running into grabbing intel in between in the middle of buildings the next round, so it's very fast paced, very fun battle, and again, free to play, so you and your friends could just download it tonight, see for yourself, and you know what, if you end up loving it, there's no reason to not buy it, because all of the experience points that you get from RedSec transfer seamlessly into the game. You even get experience boosters in RedSec that you can use when you buy the full game. Not to say that you need to wait, you can use them while you're a RedSec player, but you could hang on to them while you're before you get the full game, and then just unload. And then have like your own double XP weekend. You know what I mean?
Yep. Stack them up. Use them when you want.
So the combination of being able to play for free, get premium privileges, not just in gameplay, not just in currency, but in accessibility, and you can fill out the battle pass in RedSec as a RedSec player. So you're not missing any true content.
Yeah. No barrier to entry here.
No. So that is why Battlefield 6 is my best game to play with friends in 2025. Drix, this is just one of those games. It's really is. This is like the closest thing that you could get to like that mid 2000s, early 2010, like bro shooter experience, like in the modern day.
Yeah, exactly. You need some first person shooting to go down. This is gonna be all for you.
Yeah, this is gonna be all for you, and it's definitely worth the cash if you want to push forward into just playing the full game. So Battlefield 6. Best game to play with friends, and that is going to do it for that part of our awards. But before we go, we have a couple of games that we want to talk about, and they didn't really fit into any one of our awards, any one of our award categories. So I'm gonna have Drix start us off. But these are our prestige picks. You can call them out. You can call them our shout-outs. You can call them our runner-up. You can call them maybe they just were stand out in something that we don't quite have a category for. But these are a couple games that not necessarily just missed the mark, but we just couldn't really place them.
Yeah, I mean, oof. Yeah, this one I'm also kind of subbing in as my favorite soundtrack category as well. But there's a lot of reasons why this is like a prestigious honorable mention for me as far as these CFM Awards go. But for my prestige category honorable mention game, I'm going with Unbeatable. Now, yep, cannot be beaten. So the premise, it's a rhythm game. And surprise, I found a rhythm game that has the best soundtrack of the year. And this one, and along with Rift of the Necro Dancer, which I also enjoyed a lot, I'm seeing this trend between these two games of a rhythm game where you have an arcade mode where you choose songs that you kind of expect, but there's also like these really deep storylines, and I really love the way Unbeatable tells its story. I mean, it's visually, it's like style over everything, anime, action, all the time, bright colors, pastels, strong female protagonist, and the soundtrack is a lot of I'd call it like girly pop, but it's like it's both rock band oriented, and there's a lot of fun electronic stuff, all kinds of kind of underground music, break beats, and like two-step garage UK things,
Nice.
as well as like a bunch of chip tunes, which speaks to me and probably all you CFM radio listeners out there as well. But yeah, while this game is not like super polished in that it's got a couple like bugs actually, and sometimes if I want to go from like arcade mode and then back to story mode, you might have to turn it off and back on, like close the app and reopen it.
Oof.
That's something I might patch later as far as little bugs and polish goes. But still, this stood out to me in the way that it tells the story, because you're in a band and music is illegal. So as a 30-something in a band myself, the dialogue really like spoke to me in a lot of ways, and I was like, yeah, this feels accurate. Like I've absolutely like gone through something similar in
Nailed the authenticity.
yeah, with the musician authenticity, because musicians are not people, they're just a little different, you know.
A little bit.
But I felt that energy, and I want to say this is coming from like Korean developers, but there's definitely a good amount of collaboration. I can only imagine the process of getting all this music together actually too, and like getting a band. I stumbled across some demo tapes actually, and I was like, this is cool. Like these weren't the finished songs. This wasn't what ended up in the final product, but here's like, you know, little work in progress versions that they probably presented in some, you know, board meeting or Zoom call or who. But I would love to watch the documentary about how this soundtrack got made. And yeah, and the music I'm absolutely going to take with me and like jam out in my car, or like while I'm working on stuff, or all over the place. It hits like any, you know, mainstream, popular or otherwise band that you would take with you. And yeah, I'm going to be bumping this soundtrack for a while. And yeah, I actually finished the story over the weekend, and you know,
Sweet.
Yeah, looks cool, cell shaded, and a little bit of an anti-authoritarian, you know, message behind the music. And you know, how are you going to make music illegal?
For real.
Yeah, it's a very human thing, and it dives into a lot of those kind of emotions. I was hooked, absolutely loved it. Heard about it online and had to pick it up.
Well, Unbeatable, we were talking about this the other day on the show a couple weeks back. This game looks incredible. And the soundtrack, I actually popped it open at work last week.
Just had a feeling you might.
It got algoed to me, funny enough. And I started listening to it. I kind of just let it play while I was going, and it was not gonna lie, it's a pretty sweet soundtrack. A certain French game took the awards by storm last year, and while it was good, and while I do believe the soundtrack carried that game as well, Unbeatable had a fantastic soundtrack that really evoked exactly what it was about, and you heard it here from Drix in a band. That feeling is authentic. It is definitely immersive to the point where you can have an echo of reality.
Yep. Even having to reset the game, you know, 2 or 3 times, it didn't bother me at all. I still absolutely fell in love with this one.
So that is Drix's honorable mention / prestige pick / whatever you want to call it. It was his OST of the year.
Mm-hmm. Best soundtrack.
And
the place later.
Hell yeah. I hope so. And for me, I have a game that, you know, I really this is a game I played earlier this year, and I I was a little hard on it, I will admit. I was a little bit harsh in my review, even though I believe I gave it a 3 out of 10 or a 3 out of 5. I believe that this game still has a very high fun factor, and it was illuminated to me and it proved itself to me today when I booted it up. I wish I had more time with this one over the last year, but it was just so packed. It's Sonic Racing Cross Worlds.
Oh yeah, definitely still on my list of games to pick up.
Yeah,
I haven't had it do in the last year.
Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is a very, 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 to this day, a very unique game. If definitely not your mama's Mario Kart. It absolutely has its own feel. It's not trying to be anything like that. It's not, it knows, that's the thing. It knows what it is, and it's not trying to be anything it's not. So when you play Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, it's a very rewarding experience. You could it's not just the character dependent. It's not just dependent on your machine, even though those are very important factors on how you race. The game truly is pretty much, you could call it a loadout based racer, where you need to make sure your loadout is good, it has synergy with the gameplay mechanics, and when you've tested it out and know that it works for you, you can really push the game to the limit. When you first play Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, it might feel a bit jarring because it might feel sluggish at times. It's very punishing. You hit a wall, you hit another racer, you bump into them, you lose rings just like as if you got hit by an item. You know, there's a lot of small nuance in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds that give it, again, not the edge that where it's not your mama's Mario Kart, but that's the best part. Not to mention, this game also has a fantastic soundtrack. It's got a great cast of characters. The Cross Worlds aspect, Drix, definitely flexing these days. You've got Pac-Man characters. You've got SpongeBob characters. You've got characters from the Sonic comic. You've got Minecraft. You got everything in this game.
Oh, Ichiban Kasuga from Yakuza.
Ichiban Kasuga. You got Joker from Persona. You have everybody. Everybody's here. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Plus, all the Sonic characters that you could probably think of. Maybe with a couple exceptions of the more niche ones. But
yeah, they say Cross Worlds, they mean it.
They do. They absolutely mean it. And you know, the thing with this game is you could pop it in there and just go for a race. And there's always people playing it. It didn't take me longer than a minute to get into a game today, just to grab some footage for the show tonight. This game is beloved. There's a lot of people still playing it. It's it's very fun because you can play it the way you want to. Do you find yourself running into a bunch of people and walls all the time? You could have it so that instead of losing rings, you get a boost when that happens. Do you like drifting like me? Well, if you like drifting all the time, you can have a whole spec to where you unlock a new level of drift, where if you pull it off, you get an invincibility, like a limited invincibility. And now you have like a strategic edge. So when one of these big items comes at you, or one of these leader-seeking items comes at you, you could be like, "All right, let me get a drift really quick," and then you just boom, toggle on your invincibility and you block it. It's a very cool game, and there's a lot of unique interactions like that. And it's a game that heavily rewards your skill. And it heavily rewards how much you understand it. So, Sonic Racing Cross World, great game to play with anybody because it's also couch co-op. Unfortunately, you cannot take your couch friends online.
Nope. Not in this game.
Not in this
But
game.
there's something to be said for that, you know, I'm bringing this one to a house party.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This game is definitely one of those style crowd pleasers. There's a way for everybody to play this game, and if you pick this one up, it might just be your next obsession because there's just so many ways that you could trick out your machine.
Yeah. Modular everything for everyone.
Modular racing.
Yep.
That's our prestigious picks for this year. They couldn't really fit into any other places. These aren't games that really stand head and shoulders above anything else. They just do something very unique or very, very, they do something very unique. So if you're looking for something like nothing you can get anywhere else, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds or Unbeatable.
Yeah. Little diverse, rhythm action and racing action.
And speaking of diverse, these beats are diverse, even though they all come from the same Sonic track. Drix, what are we listening to?
Man, on a little Sonic spree talking about the game. This is Mystic Cave Zone from Sonic 2.
Of course, the Mystic Cave Zone, CFM Radio.
CFM.
We'll be
I'll hit
back.
you with the Sonic track after this too.
Clusterfuck Media.
CFM, we are back.
Back and going boom boom into my heart, listening to the Wii music version of Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. And before that, during our music break, that song was called Cross the Worlds from Sonic Racing Cross Worlds.
Crossing them worlds with Sonic Racing. But you know what, Drix? Some days, you cross into the world of your favorite retail location.
Yes,
And
a brick and mortar store.
Indeed. And perhaps, Drix, at this brick and mortar store, they sell video games.
Yes, preferably.
So, Drix, I do believe I think it's time to talk about the best games that you should look for when you are in one of these locations and you see those little yellow tags that say on sale. Or you know what,
Oh,
Drace, who the hell are we kidding? You could be sitting on your ass right now listening to us while you're on the PlayStation Store or on your
yeah.
Steam store and just looking at those deals. So you know what, Drix? I think it's time. We're just going to we're not gonna play with it anymore. This is
The best game to get on sale.
the best game to get on sale from CFM 2025. And Drix, we're gonna start off with your pick.
Yes. Are you beguiled by a bargain? Because I love getting a game on a discount. One of the best things since childhood, right?
Right?
But for my best game to get on sale for 2025, I'm looking at my main man Hideo Kojima on this one.
Ha!
Because for me, that's going to be Death Stranding 2. So about this one, if you're not familiar with the legacy and the legend of Hideo Kojima, always very forward thinking. This is for one of his early games, Snatcher. He had hoped to be able to make the floppy disk smell like blood, like hot iron.
Yeah.
So that, when you played the game and you're solving the cyberpunk murder mystery, you might smell a little bit of blood. This is where the immersion began, okay? But I spent, a good chunk of my my holiday break over Christmas and New Year's playing Death Stranding 2, and much like the first one, I love to give it the label of cinematic masterpiece because, from what I've heard on social media, Hideo Kojima's body is like 80% movies. And, you could say he loves a good cutscene, but the absolute like cinematography of it, the amount of facial scans of real live actors that he had to do to put, something like Death Stranding together, it is a feat. And I think it really shines just on the entire gaming landscape that you can be an outsider, you can make, your art, your creative vision come to life. And for me, I didn't finish the first game. I don't know if I'll finish this one because I'm being pulled in so many directions. But yeah, this one is still pulling at me a lot more than a lot of other games on my list. I need to get in there. I need to deliver those packages. So while, for me, the gameplay and storytelling feel innovative and unique, even though I'm a little bit familiar with, like building roads and managing supplies and materials and deliveries from the first one, I still really enjoyed coming back to it years later and enjoyed the continuation of both the story and the sort of graduation of the gameplay mechanics. A little bit more gunplay in this one too, doesn't hurt, or at least you get to it like a bit earlier on. And you can still be Solid Snake and stealth around, or you can just fire your lasers and grenades guns ablazing. Also a lot of fun vehicles. I enjoyed building a monorail and the purely likes based economy. Like I did this and I'm getting rewarded by other people liking the effort that I put in. Like, yeah, that's who'd have thought. That's kind of nice. So yeah, if you have any distaste for the Uber Eats simulator, for me it doesn't feel that tedious for me, but it's one of those things you might want to be more in the mood for, or you kind of play it to get through the end or 100% it, and then maybe come back to it years later. But even though it's that's probably why it's the best game to get on sale for me, because if you want to just be like, oh, this is just walking, it's, for me it's so much more than that. As far as just the concepts behind it, there's a codex, like an encyclopedia of in case you don't know what this means, here's what we're referring to, this concept,
here's
this idea.
the lore.
Yeah, we call the human soul Ha and Ka, and when you die you go to a beach and blah blah blah. It's great. I think it's it's like George R. Martin or like Tolkien, like Lord of the Rings style, like lore and world building. So I'm absolutely a big fan of that, but it's hyper futuristic, and some say you might have predicted like pandemic stuff with the first game. But yeah, if you're into all that high concept sci-fi rigmarole, beautiful game, still fun, innovative gameplay, and again, a unique experience. We like to shine a light on gaming as an art form here, and this one really does it for me. So if you don't like it, be glad you got it on sale.
Indeed, yes. Definitely one of the more subjective ones out there. Death Stranding 2. I definitely did not. One of the ones that I did not get a chance to play myself. So I believe I will take that advice, and when I see this go on a discount, I'm going to grab it.
Yeah, this might have been one of my big 3, physical copy Black Friday purchases too, actually.
Because, I will say, Drix, no matter what you say about Hideo Kojima, his storytelling, whatever you might say, the guy has an incredible eye for cinematography, like you were saying, and these visuals are just incredible.
Oh, look at the kitty. It's made of tar, isn't it?
Right. Look at the baby.
Don't you want to soothe the baby?
Yeah, look at the baby. Like,
and the emotions.
Yeah.
I getcha.
So, Death Stranding 2, on the beach. Get you on the beach whenever you see this one on sale. And you know what, Drix? Definitely, definitely a time to look and see exactly which games probably just maybe, when the rubber hits the road, they just didn't live up to maybe something else out there. And I gotta say, that's what happened with Assassin's Creed Shadows. So, Assassin's Creed Shadows, you're seeing all of my trophy data here because I want to show you guys exactly how far we got into this game. It was pretty far. I believe I put in about 25, 30 hours into this game. I never finished it, and but I got my money's worth out of it. I will say, however, Drix, that this one is one that I'll say get it on sale. Simply because of A, how often it goes on sale, and B, how deep the discount already is. Drix, when this game goes on sale with its DLC, you can get it for about $30.
Ooh, yeah, no, that sounds very nice. And I think we can almost say the same thing about Battlefield 6 earlier too.
Yeah. So you've got a couple of great options, and Assassin's Creed Shadows, the thing with Assassin's Creed Shadows is it didn't really break the mold on Assassin's Creed games. It didn't really try to do too much different, but it's probably the best Assassin's Creed game you can play. It looks great. It's got a good story. The characters are fun, and the gameplay is stellar. Both Yasuke and Naue are very fun characters. The ninja versus the samurai playstyles they're both very distinct and different. They do not play like one another whatsoever. And I gotta say, Drix, this is one of those games that you could just get lost in. You could run around all over the goddamn place and that's kind of what I did. You just run around and do your own little missions and go on adventures, and it's really fun.
Yeah, who doesn't want to deep dive into Edo, Japan again?
Exactly. So it's a very, very immersive game. It's a very the action is great moment to moment, and this game has a ton of options to where you can really change the game to make it feel like that old school Assassin's Creed, where if you get the right angle on people and drop on them, they just die instantly. No ifs, ands, or buts. Or you can make it play kind of more like an RPG, where all of your enemies, they're their own strength is commiserate to the level that you see. So that makes them that much tougher. So it's less like a realistic thing and more like, you know,
Division or Borderlands.
Yeah, exactly. So this game is very cool in like that. You can play it however you want. There's a lot of ways to play it. The gear is funny enough, like the looting and the gear acquisition is funny enough a pretty fun part of the game. That you could do like this attack after you do like your psi attack, it will trigger, they start bleeding, and then like you could assassinate bleeding targets. Like there's a lot of cool stuff that you could do in this game. So if you ever see this one on sale, especially if it's the deluxe edition, pick up Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's worth it. It's worth the $30-$40 that you'll get for the deluxe edition. It stands head and shoulders over Star Wars Outlaws. And while we did have a lot of samurai games last year, Rise of the Ronin, this one, Ghost of Yote, there was a lot. Yes. I think this one, if you're looking for that Assassin's Creed game, like a good straight up Assassin's Creed, good classic honest Assassin's Creed with all of the fat shaved off, this is your game. So it is absolutely my best game to get on sale.
Yeah, it's almost, Assassin's Creed's always been a leader in the pack as far as like these action adventure romps, you know, in an open world.
Yeah. The Ubi romp, right?
Yeah.
The Ubisoft open world style romp. You know, it's just one of those games.
Yeah, you're talking to the guy who's been playing Beyond Good and Evil too, and I can definitely see the progression in the combat there as well.
So Assassin's Creed Shadows and Death Stranding 2 are your games, your best games to get on sale. Whenever you see those games with a yellow tag, whether your storefront is digital or physical, grab it, because you will not be regretting it.
Give these games a shot.
And Drix, while there are games that you can get on sale, I gotta say, this year was filled with surprises.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, you know, something we definitely love in video games is really not seeing how great a game is coming, you know, whether it be the marketing or the deal you got it for or whatever. It's, yeah, I'm surprised sometimes, you know, that the $10 games I play more than like the $60 games.
And it should be, there's a lot of those styles of games, so a lot of them might have flown under your radar. But, Drix, I think the time has come to shine a spotlight on the games that really took us back and surprised us.
Yeah, did not see these coming.
No. Definitely didn't see mine coming at all. I absolutely thought that it was just one of those fad style things, but that's for me, because Drix, I think it is time for
Surprise hit of the year.
Surprise hit of the year. Now, Drix, what was your surprise hit of the year?
Man, I did not hear much about this. I don't know where it came from, who made it, but I sure loved it. I am going to talk about Skate Story that I played on the PS5. And oh boy, yeah, I feel like the first time I heard about this was on like a reel. It got algorithmed to me. And you know, the tagline, the great little piece of marketing is you are a demon made of glass and pain, and you must skate.
Hell yeah.
That alone really just, you know, hook, line, and sinker. You got me. I love a skateboarding game. But this one in particular, and especially after the big flop that EA's skate game was, this was something I was really happy to get into. Because it's the most Souls-like skateboarding experience I've had. Like,
Damn.
every time I lined up to do a trick, I felt like I was either, planning a fast or strong attack or deciding whether I was going to dodge roll or parry. And you combo these things together in a really satisfying way. Of course, the visuals really pop. I like the art style, and the way the story's told actually feels kind of like Persona. Like, it's not just the like fonts, but also like the demon characters that you kind of run into. It's very like Shin Megami Tensei. Some of them are wacky and silly, and some of them are just plain scary looking, like a centipede or something. But you gotta eat the moon, and in order to do that, you skateboard. You have these pretty epic boss battles where you're doing like the biggest combos you can, and then stomping them out at the end with the final flourish that actually does damage to the boss and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this one really surprised me. It's going to be my surprise hit of the year because for me, it's the little game that could. I beat it, and I want to beat it again. Even when and again, kind of like unbeatable. There was at least one glitch that I found, and I was like, you know what? To be honest, I restarted the whole game. I played it, got all the way back to where I was, and it was a lot faster because if you're skipping cutscenes and text dialogue and all that, it didn't take me anywhere near as long because I was actually enjoying the ride, But this was awesome. I can't wait to come back and beat it again.
Skate Story, Drix's surprise hit of the year. And you know what, Drix? This is a sweet looking game. It looks beautiful. And whenever I see this one pop up and I have the time for it, I'm absolutely going to grab it, because this one, if you like that like Jet Set Radio or like fantasy surreal style extreme sports, looks absolutely up your alley.
Yeah, the Dark Souls of skateboarding. And actually had a really great soundtrack too. It was a little like, it's kind of indie synth pop. There was an article I saw about the artist from New Jersey who actually did like the whole soundtrack, and it's interesting. I felt like I was at Coachella listening to this one, but as much as I may not be the biggest fan of like the actual genre that it fit really well for the game and the style and the atmosphere.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, that's it. Skate Story, surprise hit of the year. If you're looking for something that comes out of left field, this is it.
Yep, even surprised my taste in music.
And let's talk about surprise and taste, because Drix, I didn't think I would like this one. I heard a lot about it, but at the end of the day, when I saw it on sale, I bit the bullet and said, fuck it, everyone's playing it, might as well see. I wasn't planning on it, but it's Arc Raiders. Now, again, kind of a cop-out, right? Oh, Arc Raiders, only the most popular game out there right now. I get it, but you gotta understand, I did not think this game was going to bite me the way that it has. I definitely am not a fan of the normal extraction style shooter. Definitely not my wheelhouse normally. But man, I don't know. Arc Raiders, it does just that little bit much different.
Yep, there really is something to it, because I've been enjoying a good amount of Arc Raiders lately as well. Can't wait to dig back in.
It's one of those games. This is one of those ones where, again, tight with best game to play with friends, because even though this is a fantastic game to play with friends, Drix, I don't know if you always want to play this one with friends.
Yeah, I almost exclusively play it with friends, I find it harder to play without friends. There
are times when I feel that way too, but there are also times when I'm like, you know what, man, this is probably just easier if I run through here. I know where to go. I'm just gonna run through here and grab this stuff by myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'll face the elements.
Playing with people than I have from the actual game itself,
Yeah, and that's one of those things. And see, that's another one of those things that I think this game has going for it, which is The discoverability, like it's very vague. It's a very obtuse style game. I tell people things that I learned in this game, that I meet people that I meet in the game, things that I learned that they still don't know, and they've been playing longer than I have. So it's a very interesting game. That's to say nothing of the social dynamic. That's one of those things that I personally don't think you could really clock when you're playing one of these kinds of games, like, because it could be, I could say that, oh man, the social dynamic in the game is very good and people are polite or nice or whatever, but I can't really be an authority on that because it could just change, right?
Yeah, even between the two of us, like, we've had completely different experiences, like running into random raiders out in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. So this game, there's a lot to it, both as a video game itself, like mechanically, right? Also, there's a lot going on with it as far as the community aspect of the game. You got to rely on other people to kind of tell you what the secrets are, right? In a certain one way or another.
Or the YouTube University.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, at the end of the day, you still got to contend with the free will of the people that are in the arena with you. So even if an extraction shooter style isn't really your thing, you still might want to pick this one up, and you still might want to give it a shot. Maybe grab a couple of friends. Another budget title, $40 full price. I picked it up for $30 when it was on sale during the new year. Definitely a game that I did not see myself enjoying as much as I do. But man, if this one has become a daily driver.
Yeah, I can almost say the same. And I might later.
Yeah, same. So, but that's Arc Raiders, and definitely my surprise hit of the year. I think this game, I will say, I'm gonna put an asterisk on this. I believe Arc Raiders rides a razor's edge. I believe this game at any time could make a change that people hate and makes a lot of people leave. So if you want to get on this train, I hate to be this guy. I hate to promote FOMO, but if you want to get on this train, you should do it as soon as you can.
Yeah, this trend might not last.
Yeah.
I believe it. Anything could happen to this game, and turn the tides, if you will.
It's because this isn't one of those games where you can be like, oh man, it's like a high guard, right? Where it might be like a hero shooter, a meme hero shooter, but when push comes to shove, it's still a hero shooter, so it could probably find its place, right? Like, it's definitely not a Concord, so it might be a new Paladins, right? That kind of thing.
So it's better than a rash or cancer.
Yeah, but Arc Raiders is not like that. It is an extraction shooter, and it's one of those things where if something happens and the community turns against it, maybe because it makes people, I don't know, more incentivized towards player killing. Maybe it makes people less incentivized towards player killing. Maybe it upends the economy in some way. There's a lot of things that could happen. This game rides on a razor's edge. So if you want to get in on this, you should probably get in on it sooner rather than later. And if you do, and if you take to that advice, you're probably only going to make the game better in the long run and help it retain you as a constant player. So that's Arc Raiders. It's a very interesting game. Kind of cracked the code.
Yeah.
Like
big lightning in a bottle somehow.
Yeah. Kind of cracked the code, kind of got a little lightning in the bottle, and definitely surprised the hell out of me. It is my surprise hit of the year.
Yes. A good one.
Indeed. And I do believe we are going to take a short break, but we will be back for the best and the worst.
Oh, yeah. The GOTY you have all been waiting for from the CFM Awards here on CFM Radio.
And
right now, we're listening to Jeff Wayne's The War of the Worlds for the PS1. This song is called The Spirit of Man.
The Spirit of Man.
be coming at you with an unbeatable song after this.
Spirit of Man, then Unbeatable. Remember, if you like it, give us a like. If you love it, give us a comment. And be sure to subscribe to CFM Radio, Clusterfuck Media.
CFM Radio.
We'll be back.
CFM Radio.
CFM Radio, we are back.
That last track from the Unbeatable soundtrack was called Familiar, clocking in at 195 beats per minute, right around where I like it.
Woo!
And this Star Wars classic is from Star Wars Force Commander for the PC. It is called Imperial Rage.
Love Star Wars Force Commander, but you know what, Drix? You know what I don't love?
Being disappointed when you play a video game.
Especially when I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, man. Yeah, boy, do we have a disappointing category for you listeners up next.
And, you know, Drix, I gotta say, when push comes to shove, these games, they just are not great, you know? Like, they're just, something is just wrong with them. Like,
You know, especially under the shadows of these titans that are absolutely being released all the time, everywhere. There's so many great games to play, new and old, you know? So it's up to you to choose, and you might not want to choose these next.
yeah. Because whatever you might think or say about these games, they are kind of stinkers. And they are our
Surprise game of CFM.
The best game
Best game
to play.
They are the biggest disappointments of 2025. And Drix, what was your biggest disappointment of 2025?
You know, honorable mention or a shout out runner up in this category would have been Code Violet for me, because I was excited for another Dino Crisis, but because of the lukewarm reviews, didn't end up picking it up, and I'm absolutely not going to pay full price for it. If it's only getting 3 out of 5 stars or whatever. But my journalistic opinion for the biggest disappointment for 2025 for me was Where Winds Meet. And we've done a good bit of talking about this game on previous episodes of CFM Radio. And one of the things we said that I can't emphasize the most was if you paid any amount of money for any other game, you might want to pick that one up instead. But what really disappoints me about Where Winds Meet was how good it could have been and how much I wanted to like it. Because in a lot of ways, it's just with just about every aspect, mechanic, gameplay, visuals, all of it, it just felt like 2 steps forward and then 3 steps back. Because there was a lot of great things about it, and it was just bogged down by all this sort of bloated, I don't know, way too many menus, like way too many obscure mechanics.
Yeah,
I have to hit 2 buttons to look at the map. Like you're used to this one button, like this big touchpad on the center of the PS5 controller will usually bring up map or communications or something. I have to hit 2 buttons just to look at the map and find this obscure quest that I have to get to unlock.
You have to get
past this other thing, and it's too much. It's too much. And I really like the sort of high fantasy, like Chinese, rural countryside, ancient China, martial arts, high fantasy story. And I was bitten by that, and I really wanted it, but just could not get behind it enough to really fuel putting more hours into Where Winds Meet. It was like a really beautiful package for a kind of mediocre gift.
Yeah.
Like there was so much just menu and stats where you would feel more like you were a point on a graph instead of an immersive swordsman telling a story throughout the ancient Chinese countryside.
Yeah, and you're seeing the best part of it right now is the character creator, right? Like this thing is huge and it's awesome. And I gotta agree with you, Drix. There's a lot in this game. There's a lot to it. I got really deep into it. I stuck with it till I got to like some of the end game content. I was on like the $50,000 boat or whatever. Like there's a lot in this game, but yeah, any game that you paid money for is probably gonna beat this game to hell, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, I again liked the combat.
Yeah,
liked all the wacky characters, some interesting stories. Didn't need the chat bots, okay?
Yeah,
but again, in some of our previous discussion about this game, it's like somebody had like too much money that they wanted to make a game, and it really didn't know like what it wanted to do. It just wanted to include everything. It was a bit of a jack of all trades and a master of none, because this could have been like a great single player storytelling ubi open world romp. It could have been a great one of those, or it could have been like a really fun MMO. But it landed really just completely on the fence, in a really strange position that I really wanted to enjoy a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, my biggest disappointment, Where Winds Meet. Unfortunately, they probably didn't need to meet where they did.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of my bigger disappointments too, because like I said, I stuck with it. I did the grind out, and man, it really just ended up not being worth it. There are so many small, nagging elements to this game. The endless menus, the obtuse stats and how you obtain them, the frankly repetitive and boring prerequisites to get to higher levels of challenge in the game. Just very uninspired and not engaging. So Where Winds Meet, definitely a great candidate for the biggest disappointment of the year, because I feel bad for the person that spent that $50,000 on that boat.
Yeah, for a game that we're disappointed by it. Probably won't revisit.
Yeah. And for my biggest disappointment of the year, this is one of those ones that I was really looking forward to, and I was even really hyping it up on the show. But when push came to shove, I said I was going to give a review, and it never came. But that's because it's coming at you right now. That is Borderlands 4, and we're gonna put some trailer footage up on the screen because I wanted to show everybody that this game was well received by critics. This game could be your game. You could end up loving Borderlands 4, and you know what? When push comes to shove, Borderlands 4 is just that. It's more Borderlands, and it's not doing anything new. It's actually taking things back. It's not. There's not a lot of. There's not a ton of things to talk about when it comes to new elements of the game. All the Vault Hunters are new, and all their abilities are cool and interesting. But there's a lot of There are elements like the melee from Tiny Tina Wonderlands that could have been incorporated in here. There could have been a little bit more of the utilization of like anti-gravity, maybe from the pre-sequel because the environments were so big. But really, at the core of Borderlands 4, where it fails the most is it's just boring. There is so much of this game, and at the same time, there is so little. The enemy variety is sparse. The environments are huge, but they don't house unique arenas. The arenas feel very samey from environment to environment, just with different veneers. The best parts about this game are the dungeon delving. You know, and there's a lot of dungeons. I'll give that to the game. There's a lot of dungeons. The bosses are also quite good. The boss fights are very well done. But this isn't one of those Borderlands games where you feel as though you're moving from one area to one area and the fight never stops and the ride never ends. You feel like the ride ends and then you're waiting in line for the next one. And you could say what you want about the characters. You could say what you want about the story. There wasn't really anything memorable about it. And you could say about what you want about older games. But at least you remembered how much you might have disliked those stories or how much you might have been critical. This kind of just feels generic. Feels like a very generic anti-authoritarian type story with kind of an uninspired take. A twist you could see coming from a mile away. And, you know, the Vault Hunters themselves, I gotta say, these are the least charismatic cast of Vault Hunters you could probably play as. And I'm not saying that because they look bad. They all look good, actually. I thought all of them were really cool. Design-wise, it's just, when you're playing the game, there's not a lot to remember about them like there was in the older Borderlands games. And even though, yes, the guns are excellent, the standardization of the guns does not feel great. You only feel like you got a wacky, crazy gun when it's like some wild, legendary type gun that you find out there. The loot chase feels good because everything feels rather standard. When you get a TDR, you know exactly what you're going to get. The twist is it might be a different element. When you get a Jacobs, you know that thing's good. You know what you're going to get. Good single shots, high clip, good headshot damage, not very much else. And it's not like how it used to be where these were just kind of like the base idea of the gun and then the wackiness was on top of it. No, that is the gun now, and then the wackiness is sprinkled in.
Yes. So the looting and shooting has shown its wear in the fourth Borderlands.
I would absolutely say it has. And I think this is, unfortunately, like I said, you're seeing on the screen, this was very well received by critics. So I will say that they probably did perfect the Borderlands formula. I'll just say it like that. But as someone who's been with the franchise, and your mileage may vary on mechanics they have left in the past, this could have been one of those moments where they really brought everything back into a nice package and really went whole hog, because you have such a huge environment. There's literally nowhere you cannot go. If you can see it, you can go there. So it's pretty cool. But when you're fighting the same enemies over and over and over again, it doesn't really make for a compelling game. And when you don't really care about your guns until they have an orange or a red name on them, again, the loot chase doesn't really feel that compelling. So Borderlands 4, it's definitely not for me. And I definitely think that you, unfortunately, would have a better time going back and revisiting Borderlands 3.
Ooh, yeah. Sometimes they just peak earlier in the franchise, right?
Just a little bit.
Indeed. Well, I mean, the trailer sure said 10 out of 10, but that's not what CFM Radio is saying tonight.
No. And that is my biggest disappointment of the year. And you know what, Drix? I hate to say it. I do. I don't like saying that, but that's just how it is.
Yeah, no, we got to speak the truth, especially in regards to our disappointing games. I mean, at least mine was free to play, so you didn't have to. You paid money.
True, very, very true. But you know what, Drix? That's just one part, because I think it's time to get out of this mindset and talk about the games that truly took our breath away.
Oh yeah, no, here we go. It's getting time for a victory lap here for the CFM Awards, and we're gonna drop our picks for the game of the year here now.
Game of the year.
Game of the year, everybody. This is it. This is what you've been waiting for. Drix, what is your game of the year for 2025?
For me, I did play a lot of Monster Hunter Wilds. Okay, that might be what I clocked the most hours into as far as 2025 games go. But I gotta put my little biases aside for the sake of doing good game journalism. And unfortunately, a certain French game was the only really great RPG to really shake things up in the last year. I was telling Vector, if Metaphor ReFantazio came out a year later, that probably would have been a decisive pick for me.
Yeah.
But my game of the year is actually Vector's surprise hit because it's Arc Raiders once again.
Arc Raiders.
Yeah, because I mean, you said it during our surprise hit, oh yeah, it's the one everyone's playing, and honestly, I get it. I get why. I was really not interested in Arc Raiders as it came out. Wasn't riding any kind of hype train awaiting its release. But by the time I picked it up, it's something I want to keep picking up. And if I reminisce on the year 2025, what games made the most waves, it's gonna be Arc Raiders, because
Arc Raiders.
Yeah, my game of the year, because it convinced me to pick it up and go along for the ride, and now it's my go-to social game that gets me playing with my friends. Not only because I have the most friends playing it more than other games, but also because like we said earlier, this one really caught some kind of lightning in a bottle, and to me it rings true the statement that gamers just want to game. We don't even need a tutorial. We just need a good game. It doesn't need to be perfect and super polished. The climbing and sliding and crouching can all be just like a little wacky, but it still has to feel good and play good. And Arc Raiders definitely does that, you know.
Yeah.
It's it is charismatic in its own sort of way, because again, not much else out there like it. It really showed me what an extraction shooter can do if you're, you know, extracting with purpose, you're crafting, you're upgrading, and all of a sudden, you know, next thing I know, I'm bitten by this little Arc Raiders bug that makes me want to keep on raiding on.
Yeah, man, it's definitely one of those games where you don't understand it until it hits you, and you're like, wait a minute, this clicks, and now I this goes with this, and now this goes with this, and man, what gives me springs? I gotta go find that. All right, like
I've never played a game where it was strategically easier to stay alive if you know what materials break down into what. Like, you will survive longer in the field. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's very attractive.
Very good, very cool. Arc Raiders, I think, worthy of the game of the year. It probably will make a believer out of you. It made a believer out of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody, from my game of the year, this one felt like, to me, it also kind of came out of a left field. A lot of surprises this year. And again, certain French game might have taken the game of the year everywhere else. But I do believe that I'm with Drix in that if Metaphor came out this year, it would have mopped Expedition 33.
Yeah, and as far as my list of game goes, all the new stuff I've been trying to play with my free time, I want to play Expedition 33, but it's not, you know, taking the lead in this pack.
Yeah.
Saturated awesome over here.
I'll tell you about Expedition 33 in a minute, but for right now, I gotta say, this game of the year could have been my surprise hit of the year, because I didn't think it was gonna be this way, but it absolutely was. It's Dispatch.
Yeah, and I played a good amount of this one too, and I agree, it absolutely deserves this spot as game of the year.
Yeah, so if you haven't played Dispatch, this is a visual novel that I do believe is probably the next level of the visual novel. And it's not like, oh, hokey, oh man, it's the next level. Nah, this really is, because this is taking a visual novel and moving it into a realm more like television. You know what I mean? It feels less like you're playing a visual novel type game, like where you're reading and making the decisions, and it does feel more like you are prompting the next scene in like an animated show like Arcane, or, you know, one of these high octane like cyberpunk edge runners type show. So you've got a lot of interesting ideas, since it is a modern take on superheroes, where the main character is not a superhero, but he is a superhero dispatcher. And that allows you to take a role, or an interesting role, not just as the shot caller from a narrative point of view, but there's also a fair amount of puzzle solving, because the puzzles come to you in the form of, let's say, they're a navigational puzzles, where
it's a day job is what it is.
Yeah, it's a day job, right? You have a small navigational puzzles that you need to do every so often, and they're never anything too intense, but the time limits that can be imposed on you can get intense. And one of the best parts about this game is how its difficulty curve ramps up with its drama. As the game reaches its climax, the game feels tougher and tougher. It never feels insurmountable, but it definitely feels like you are being tested, and you are being shown that this is, you know what? If you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, you probably should have known by now, because it's like Drix said, this is like a day job, and
did I put my skill points in the right place?
It allocates
the right team member for this task.
Yeah, it allocates almost like a day job. So when you feel and you need to trust people to do the right things, and even if they are the right people for the right job, they might not always get it right. So balancing that dynamic with your main character Robert's personal life and his own internal struggles with his past, another thing about this game, and another thing about that element is that, you know what? There are so many great twists and turns in this game. The writing is excellent, and it truly makes it feel like you are immersed and watching a TV show, to the point where you at times forget that it's even a video game.
Yeah, exactly. I can't stress how much this feels like you're playing a sitcom, and thanks to their close collaboration with Critical Role and those minds over there, the writing is actually really stellar. Like, I dare you to find a screenplay, TV show or movie that can really nail this kind of like tongue-in-cheek humor, with that real comic book feel. I mean, best superhero movie I've seen in the last 2 decades.
Fantastic. It's a fantastic superhero take on superheroes. Great writing all the way around. Insane replay value, and the management simulation side of the game really grounds you in that game, video game mentality. It doesn't always feel like some of these other visual novels can feel like, where you're just pretty much literally reading a visual choose your own adventure novel.
Don't get day job taken the wrong way. It's really fun.
It's great.
It's simulation and assigning your teammates to tasks that they're good for. It's a good time, between storytelling scenes.
So that is my game of the year. And as we're winding down here at the CFM Awards, we know it was a little bit more of a quiet CFM Awards this year. We didn't have our usual cast of characters with us, but the year was incredibly busy. Shout outs to our friends Johnny, and shout outs to our friends Wonder Chef. Hope you're doing fantastic. And we hope to hear some of everybody who's listening, some of your favorite picks from 2025, because these were just ours. Like we were saying at the top of the show, didn't get a chance to play all the big marquee games, all the 10 out of 10s. But you know what? The ones that we did play, I feel as though that we might have had a different take on what the best games of this year were. And I'm not just saying that because everybody voted Expedition 33 as the best game for everything, the best game of all time.
Yeah.
Borderlands,
these last weeks alone, like these are real like genre defining games too. Like the best extraction shooter, a whole new way to think of like visual novels and stuff. I mean, these are what really like push the boundaries instead of just being like, ha, so pretty.
Yeah,
so beautiful soundtrack.
Yeah, relying on, and again, Expedition 33 is one of those games where it relies on tried and true mechanics and gameplay and video game tropes to carry it across the finish line to achieve its vision. Very interesting to see what it looks like when an artist tries to make a team of artists try to make a video game, as opposed to a team of video game developers trying to create art. It is an incredible dichotomy, and I think that element is one of the things that people focus on the most, and that gets lost in the discussion. Is that, you know, you can love Expedition 33 all you want for how beautiful it is, for the aesthetic, for the music, for the writing, or the voice acting, for the performances, for all these things.
The rhythm game turn-based
for the
battle.
rhythm game turn-based battle. But that's the thing, is that it's relying on these tried and true tropes. Timed attacks, turn-based blocking, to the point, nearly to a fault, to the point where the game itself and its gameplay feels trivial. So, in a sea of games, like Drix was saying, that feel foundational, feel like they push their genres to a new level. Dispatch, Arc Raiders, you know, these games, and then the ones that failed, Borderlands 4, you know, like there are these games that had high hopes that didn't really get there. And there were a lot of games that no one really could have predicted catching fire that completely caught fire and took over the entire industry, Dispatch and Arc Raiders included. So I feel as though this year was a foundational year for gaming, for video games, because there are games that came out in 2025 that people are going to be talking about 10 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. Really setting the stage for what the rest of the decade in gaming is going to look like.
And really
don't be afraid to try new things, broaden your horizons.
And it really shows you the cost of the risks, or the amount of risks that are being taken. It shows you that there are people out there who are just throwing everything at a wall. Another remarkable failure, Where Winds Meet, is a perfect example of this. The game on its surface feels like it has everything, but the more and more you play and the more and more you pick away at it, you realize it doesn't really have anything.
Yeah, not a whole lot. Oof. But what a year it's been. Right, Vector?
Absolutely, Drix. It has been a great year. So many great games. And you know what? This year, there really was something for everyone.
Yep. There always is in video games. And, you know, we've still got the rest of this great year in gaming to look forward to. I know I've picked up a few titles that have, you know, only come out in the last 2 months. And, boy, am I enjoying those. But let's see if they withstand the test of time. And what else we've got in store.
We've got a lot coming up. We've got Resident Evil at the end of the month. We have Marathon.
The front of my mind, you know.
Yeah. And we got Marathon after that. And then sometime at the end of the year is GTA 6, right?
Oh boy, yeah, I'm not holding my breath for that one.
Yeah.
But that would just be so nice.
It would be so great if we got GTA 6. It would be fantastic. Hopefully before Christmas.
Before the next console generation, you know.
We're going to talk about that a little bit next week. But for this week, thank you everybody who came in, everybody who dropped by. We love everybody. This is the 4th CFM Awards. We have been doing this for 4 years. Thank you everybody who has stuck with us. Thank you all of our new listeners who just learned about us. And you know what? Everybody else, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. Time to go and play some games.
And we will be back around this time next year for the same deal in 2026. And really quick, before Drix, we get laying out the elephant, we're going to address the elephant in the room. Story of the year, everybody. Drix and I agree. Xbox is dead.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're still doing our mini-series on Epstein and gaming as well. So
tune in for that next week. Part 2.
Yeah. Yep. Second part.
We are going to find out that, you know, Epstein, he sure did love his Xbox. And that he sure did get it for a lot of his buddies' kids. So, should be pretty fun. Check us out next week.
Thank you. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Good night.